What if I tell you that you yourself create the world around you? That every day, every minute your consciousness forms the reality in which you live? Sounds fantastic? And meanwhile, this works right now. We are the cause of what we see around us. With what consciousness is filled, with that our life is filled too. Everything begins with thought. First, an idea is born in the head, and then it materializes in reality. Thoughts and reasoning open a portal of perception, similar to what you think about. First in consciousness appear ideas, conclusions, beliefs, opinions, and other streams of attention, and then they are as if projected onto reality. And life actually fills with what our consciousness is filled with. What kind of consciousness? Such as life. Our consciousness works like a powerful projector in a cinema. What we put into it as a film of our thoughts, that we will see on the screen of life. If there is tragedy in the projector, there will be tragedy on the screen. If comedy, there will be comedy. We are directors of our own film, and the main role in it belongs to our attention. Thoughts are only one of the components of this process, just a part of the stream of attention. To change life, you need to change streams of attention. This is like tuning a radio receiver. If you are tuned to the wave of conflicts, you will catch only quarrels and disagreements. But as soon as you retune to the wave of harmony, you will begin to hear completely different music of life. Let's say, earlier you were tuned to see disagreements with a colleague. Every word of his you perceived as a challenge, every gesture as a provocation. And what did you get? Constant conflicts, tension, stress. But imagine that you decided to switch attention. Instead of looking for what irritates you, you begin to notice his professionalism, sense of humor, care for work, and suddenly relations begin to change. The same person, but completely different results. To change thoughts and attention, you need to change perception. This is like changing lenses and glasses. If you wear dark glasses, the world seems gloomy. Put on sunny ones, and everything will shine with new colors. How we perceive our life is the cause of what we let into it, and what, in the end, it gives us. Here is a simple example. Two people walk along the same street. One sees puddles, dirt, gray houses, gloomy faces of passers-by. Another notices how merrily children splash in puddles, how beautifully the sky reflects in water, how cozily windows of houses glow, how sincerely the seller in the store smiles. The street is one, but reality is completely different. Do you want to change something specific? Change perception of this. Your mental activity is not just a process in the head. This is an architect who builds the surrounding world. Every thought is a brick in the foundation of your reality. Human thinking is the beginning of all beginnings. If you want more money, but constantly think about their lack, you build a house of poverty. If you dream of love, but focus on loneliness, you erect walls of isolation. If you desire health, but fixate on diseases, you create a foundation for ailments. If you desire something, then you need to hold this in your consciousness throughout your entire life. This is like watering a plant. Watered once, it withered. Water regularly, it blooms and bears fruit. Your desires and goals are seeds, and attention is life, giving moisture. Because, as soon as streams of attention weaken, these manifestations fade, lose strength, and minimize up to complete disappearance. This is like a radio station that broadcasts on air. While the transmitter works, everything is heard perfectly. Turned off power, and radio silence. All work on yourself comes to nothing. But there is also good news. You can always reconnect these streams of attention again. This is like restoring electricity in a house. Found the switch, turned on, and light burns again. Sometimes you just need to remember where this switch of your attention is located. The work is quite simple, but requires internal changes concerning your worldview and understanding of things. Imagine a gardener who for years grew weeds, thinking that these are flowers. When the difference was explained to him, he did not immediately believe. But as soon as he began to plant real flowers, the garden transformed beyond recognition. With observance of simple rules, you can achieve incredible successes. You can become anyone: an engineer, artist, entrepreneur, happy parent, traveler, whoever you want. This power is not limited by anything. Limitations can only be in your perception. While you understand the power of attention's influence on your life, any goals are achievable. Watch what you talk about and think about. Realize streams of your focus. This is like becoming a director of your own film. You choose where to direct the camera of attention, what to show in close, up, and what to leave behind the frame. Direct attention to what should fill your life. Do you want more love? Look for its manifestations everywhere. In the smile of a seller, in the purring of a cat, in the aroma of fresh bread, in the sound of rain on the roof. Need money? Notice abundance around. Full stores, new automobiles, beautiful houses, successful people. To see love or prosperity in the world is really quite simple. There are things that exist always, regardless of whether we perceive them or not. This is like radio waves in the air. They are always there, but we hear only that station to which we are tuned. For example, joy or love exist everywhere. Just when we do not perceive them, we minimize them in our life and do not feel them. Despite the fact that something like love or joy can be found in every moment. Look, the sun shines for everyone equally, but one person complains about heat, and another rejoices in warmth. Rain is the same, but for someone this is a problem, and for someone, a blessing. For plants, a dog barks in the yard, and one neighbor gets irritated, and another is touched by the animal's devotion to the owner. To change something in the external side of life, you need first to change consciousness. This is like changing a program in a computer. If a program loser is written on the hard drive, then no matter how powerful the processor and memory might be, the result will be corresponding. But change the program to successful person, and the same computer will begin to work completely differently. You need to direct focus of attention to pleasant manifestations of this life, and it will become much more pleasant for you. This is like choosing what to watch on television. You can all day turn criminal reports and horrors, and you can switch to comedies, travels, or educational programs. Television is one, but mood is completely different. By concentrating on its best sides, thereby you improve your own life. This works like a filter for water. What you let through the filter of attention, that gets into your life. Polluted water turns into clean and muddy reality, into transparent and understandable. When I speak about changing consciousness, I do not mean a state of trance or meditation, although this can also be used. I speak about changing thinking, logic, mind, character, and ultimately yourself. As a personality, this is like changing wardrobe. You do not stop being yourself, but begin to look completely different. But to change yourself, this does not mean to betray and lose yourself. This is like updating a program on a phone. The phone remains the same, but works better, faster, with new possibilities. To change, this means to become better, such as you want to be. When we change, following this our perception changes. When we change our perception, following this we change. This is an interconnected process. Then we begin to notice new manifestations of reality in life. If you can see something good, then you can take it. How can you get what you do not notice? Successes, progress, and achieving goals, happiness or joy. While you do not carry this in your consciousness, you do not notice this. Accordingly, you cannot get this. They tell you, here it is. A soap bubble flies. Catch it quickly. But you do not see it. How to catch what you do not see? Begin to pay attention to what you would like to have in life, and this will gradually begin to manifest in it. Let your attention follow the very best of what can be obtained in this world. However, Do not strive to control the world or reality. It is more effective to control what you feel from what is happening. And remember, positive thinking consists not in expecting better, which should happen all the time, but in accepting everything that happens as the very best for this moment. Notice in life what is needed. Then there will be more and more of this. Strategy of power of attention. Observe what you like, and then this will grow. For this, you do not need to work on a special goal, because life begins to improve in all diversity. We find exactly what we are looking for, how our attention is tuned, how it selects from the general mass of information, determines our path and its result. When we select with focus of our attention, like with a flashlight, some area of reality, it can be said that it immediately becomes all reality. What we see in the world is what our thoughts are filled with, our state at the given moment and all sensations. This is the result of our mental work, performed shortly before this moment. And we do not speak about the fact that people hear or see only what they want to see or hear, although this is largely true, only not want, but to what they are tuned. Not everyone wants to see bad around themselves, but internal tuning does not allow them to change this. People hear what they are tuned to hear. Here it is necessary to note the huge role of self-tuning, and indeed, on it often depends what we will hear in some phrase, and something we will miss from attention. The very attitude toward a person sometimes determines in advance the attitude toward his actions or words, regardless of how he actually behaves and what he says. Therefore, it is important to change your outdated opinion, attitude toward life, toward people, or any other manifestations of our world. But people do not simply find positive sides or negative in everything. The matter is that this really becomes more and more on a physical level. First, perception fills with desired manifestations. Then attention nourishes them. And with time, something like such manifestations fill life. And the trick is that our tuning and attitude toward ourselves or toward people will form behavior of some person, group of people, and sometimes the attitude of the whole world toward you. We do not only see what we are tuned to see by observing something constantly, that is illuminating this with the beam of focus of our attention. We multiply this on a physical level, and not only inside thinking, perception, and attitude. When you look for joy in life, you inevitably find joy. Your tuning to see this leads to the fact that there becomes more joy in your life. What we observe day by day repeats itself. Woke up, went to the refrigerator, and it is empty. Quarreled with household members. Boss or colleague spoiled mood even more. Went home along dirty sidewalks and streets. Came home and again quarreled with someone. Went to bed. Woke up and everything anew. This will repeat in different variations until streams of attention change. Therefore, it is useful sometimes to change environment or way of life. I would even recommend to move to another city, if here it is completely impossible to live. Change of environment can give a push to internal changes, which are so necessary for you. If we disconnect our focus of attention from something, then this simply evaporates, as if this bad never existed, as if everything was always good. Check and see for yourself. Begin right today. Catch yourself on thoughts. Follow where your attention is directed, and turn it toward what you want to see in your life. Remember, you are creator of your reality, and this power is already in your hands. If you have questions or wishes, necessarily write in comments. I will answer each one. And subscription will give you possibility to receive new information and become participant of this amazing process of cognition and changing life.